We see Biden coming out in our polling just behind Donald Trump. So Trump on 42% of respondents, Biden on 41.
Donald Trump was a long-time fixture on the New York business and social scene, with Trump Tower in Midtown Manhattan being the epicenter of his empire. But in a city that now leans Democrat, and with Trump spending much more time down in his Florida home, how are New Yorkers reacting to the former president's conviction last week in the hush money trial? We're joined by The Sun's US political watcher, Anthony Blair. Good morning, Anthony.
Good morning, Jane.
Now, you've been part of the extensive polling that you've done at The Sun, including who people are planning on voting for and whether there should be an upper age limit on presidential candidates. Tell me about some of your findings.
Absolutely. So we polled Americans, not just New Yorkers, but Americans across the board for their views on the upcoming election and just some of the key issues that might sway their vote come November. And I mean, our polling reflected much of the other polling that has been taking place from other companies, which shows a very divided nation. We see Biden coming out in our polling just behind Donald Trump. So Trump on 42% of respondents, Biden on 41. But as you say, I mean, one of the key questions that we did ask was, do you believe there should be an upper age limit for presidential candidates? And 54% said they did, with the key age that they wanted to see being put in place of 64 years old, which is significantly younger than both Biden and Trump.
I don't know if you have this information in front of you, Anthony, but if you do have any of this, did the number of people voting for a younger candidate change as you went up the demographic? As in, did younger people want younger candidates and did older people think it was okay to have an older candidate? I've got older friends in America, retirees who are similar age to Biden and Trump, who just think it's ridiculous that we've got a problem with people standing for president in their 70s.
No, I mean, and that was the case. I mean, polling was broken down by age groups, and we found that millennials wanted a lower age limit of 60, which is incredibly young. And while baby boomers and Gen Xers wanted an age limit more closer to 70 or didn't want an age limit at all.
That's really interesting. And what are the other issues that people are planning to vote on? I'm imagining the economy. I'm imagining immigration. But what were the other things that were coming out in your polling?
I mean, absolutely, the economy. To quote the Clinton adage, it's the economy stupid. We found that, Americans are feeling the pinch. And even though the American economy has been outperforming some of its Western rivals and equivalents since Biden took office, there is a sense among a lot of Americans that they do feel the pinch when they go grocery shopping, and they want the next president to do something about this. And this is something that Trump has played on in his status as a businessman. He's promised to make Americans' lives easier and to put more money in their pockets. But I mean, interestingly, that was immigration gets a lot of it generates a lot of controversy, a lot of heat. But we found that it was less of an issue for the Americans that we polled than maybe some would have expected. But the economy overwhelmingly comes out as the biggest issue, with household bills, the price, and household bills and grocery bills being the major factors that are making Americans feel the pinch.
Yeah, and I would say visitors to America. I mean, if you speak to any British person who's been to America in the last year or so, they come back just, shaking their empty wallet and kind of sighing at how much they've spent just to, get a croissant and a coffee. You've also polled people in the Times Square specifically to get a New York perspective. What are they saying?
Well, that was deeply interesting, because obviously New York City does have this reputation of being a liberal bastion and somewhere that Biden would expect to command a heavy majority. But our sense of talking to people in central New York and downtown Manhattan was that there was a general sense of apathy. I think people feel. A lot of voters we spoke to either didn't want to talk at all on camera, or if they did, their sense was that they can't quite believe that the same race is happening 4 years later. And there's that sense of, there's a sense that America has maybe been in a little bit of just gridlock politically and economically as society has become more polarized. and yet the two main parties are throwing up the exact same offer that they did back in 2020.
It's fascinating. Thank you so much for your insights, Anthony. I mean, this is going to be something that we're obviously going to return to time and again. And as I think I mentioned earlier on, there is going to be a television debate between now and the time when Donald Trump is sentenced. So I think a lot of these issues are going to come up then.
Yeah, definitely. And that's just then a few days before the Republican convention, of course, is the sentencing. So it's a lovely filling in the middle of political drama.
I don't think any American political correspondents are going to get much of a holiday in July, are they?
That's certain.
I just got back from that gig.
I saw it in my new one.
I know, we went like ghost, I put it. Can
be. We could have a fair trial. We didn't get it. We wanted a judge change. We wanted a judge that wasn't conflicted. And obviously he didn't do that. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. We had a DA who was a failed DA. Crime is rampant in New York, violent crime. That's what he's really supposed to be looking at. Crime is rampant in New York.